Welcome to the Art and Science of Complex Sales, proudly presented by Membrane. This podcast is your gateway to mastering the craft of modern selling. If you're passionate about growth, impact, and unlocking full potential in sales and revenue, you're in the right place. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And now let's get started with today's guest.
Hey everybody, today we are talking with Larry Levine. We're going to welcome to the show. He's two-time author, Selling from the Heart and Selling in a Post-Trust World. And the guy's awesome. And why? It's because he cares about you. You as a sales leader, you as a salesperson, and helping people develop their mindset, their heart set, and really elevating how they're going about the sales game. Doing that is increasing revenue across companies massively. So Larry shares some stories today. We dive into the why behind this, and we have just an overall a great time. So let's welcome Larry to the show. Larry, welcome to the show.
Hey, Paul, how's it going? Always good seeing my friend Paul Fuller.
It's the same thing. Great to see Larry Levine. I've got very excited about the chance to have this conversation. So, hey, how were your holidays?
Fantastic. You know what? Sometimes you just need some downtime. You need some peace and quiet. It's just no chaos. It was very good.
That's
low
awesome.
key, just the way I wanted it.
That's fantastic. I'm the same this year. That downtime is just so critical. And I actually think it's becoming it's always been a critical rhythm, but I think it's becoming even more of a critical rhythm for all of us as we get bombarded with messaging from everywhere all the time.
There's something to be said, Paul, with this whole saying, with age comes wisdom. And I think as we get up in years, we learn this. We learn just to take a step back and slow down, just slow the whole thing down. Same applies somewhere to, I think, our conversation we're going to have today.
Well, yeah, and that really is it. Like, it's been about 18 months since you published the last book.
Yeah.
And
right.
it's all about
about
selling.
A year and a half or so. Yeah.
Yeah. About selling in a post-trust world. I really wanted to catch up on this because I love the thesis. I love just getting back to the 4 pillars, what we need to do to sell effectively in a crazy world. And I wanted to touch base on how it's been going, how it's been received. And so for the audience, why don't we dive in a little bit first to just talk about your thesis in the book, and then let's dive into kind of what's been happening since you published it.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. It all started with answering this one question, Paul, and the question was, and it all stems from selling from the heart, actually. If somebody implements the foundation, the core principles around selling from the heart, which is obviously being, true to yourself, being genuine, being authentic, what's all gonna come to the forefront if you integrate selling from the heart into the day in the life of whether you're a sales professional, sales leader, the president of a company, a C-level executive? What's all this mean? And what it means is you build higher levels of trust, deeper levels of credibility. Well, then I had to answer, well, how do you do that? And I wanted to make this as simple as possible. And I didn't want to overcomplicate anything. This isn't collegiate level stuff that I speak about. It's very applicable if you're willing to do the work. That's the key thing, if you're willing to do the work. Because if I ask, and this is highly relational stuff that I speak to, which if you're in sales, you're in the people business and you're in the relationship building business, insert whatever y'all are selling. There's something to this, people skills, relational skills, but yet we're not coaching people to this because we assume Paul's an adult. Paul's a grown human being. Paul already knows how to do all of this stuff. But what I soon found out, it's the complete opposite. We take for granted all of these things. And with the current sales world today, where we're just void of trust. It's because of all the malpractices that's been happened over years, over decades. I always say this, and I'll throw a stake in the ground on this. Salespeople have done it to themselves. Sales leaders have done it to themselves. We've broken promises, lack of follow through. We've made it all about ourselves. We're shining the light on us. We say all the right things, but we're incongruent. The walk's not matching the talk. And I'm keeping it simple for our time together. But I think everybody knows where I'm going with this. Well, then, if I'm going to integrate selling from the heart and I want to build trust in a world that doesn't trust salespeople, I have to be able to do some things with some radical consistency. Radical consistency is all around people skills, relationship building skills. And it's the whole premise of selling in a post-trust world is if I can build authentic relationships, genuine, congruent, authentic relationships, both personally and professionally with my clients and my future clients, I start to get on the right track, but I got to combine it with something else. The thing that I have to combine this with if I want to build trust is I have to combine this with what I call meaningful value. And this is one area that I see sorely lacking is because salespeople, perception's reality. And what do I mean by this? Salespeople know they're already behind the 8 ball. Let's just face it. They already know. They're walking into conversations and they're going, oh man, I got to bring the best version of myself forward. Sometimes it might be a charade because I know the previous track record. These people that I'm speaking to, they may or may not like salespeople. This is what's interesting. So they lean into this. I need to be friends with Paul and I need Paul to like me.
Yep.
And when salespeople and sales leaders lean into that and they don't bring any business substance or any meaningful, justifiable value, they get caught in the friend zone. There's a lot of salespeople that get caught in that zone because they're saying to themselves, I know, right? I already know I'm behind the 8 ball. If I lean into Paul liking me and if he starts to become friends with me, I can move the needle, maybe in some instances. But if you don't bring any meaningful business value, you get stuck in the friendship zone. There's a lot of sellers who struggle, and the data and the analytics we run brings this to the forefront. Salespeople are struggling to bring any kind of consultative, meaningful business value to the forefront. When you struggle to do that, you're going to struggle to build trust. So I really bring this to the forefront in selling in a post-trust world. It's about building authentic relationships and combining it with meaningful business value. You got to be a sales professional who brings business goods to the forefront. Then you got to, and we'll peel this all back. I know, Paul, in our time together.
Yeah.
The third thing is you got to bring an inspirational experience. And what do I mean by inspirational experience? You got to inspire, influence. You got to create some positive impact to the people that you come across. You have to be completely different than everybody else. But here's the conundrum. Everyone's showing up the exact same way. They're speaking the same language. They're using the same jargon. They're using the same acronyms, but they expect different outcomes. As a sales leader, as a sales professional, president of a company, you're responsible for how you show up. How are you showing up that's completely different to inspire others to think completely different about their business? The last pillar of this is you got to bring disciplined habits to the forefront. You have to bring radical amounts of consistency and discipline, things that most adults struggle with. Discipline habits, that's the glue to all of this. If you want to build high trusted relationships with radical consistency and discipline, you got to build genuine congruent relationships, high, wide, and deep with multiple stakeholders, multiple influencers, multiple decision makers. You have to really get to know who these people are, and they have to get to really know you. You got to bring meaningful value. You got to bring an inspirational experience and wrap it with discipline. That's really the thesis and the genesis behind the book, Paul.
Well, and the number 4, when you're talking about establishing these discipline habits, it's fascinating that the whole foundation, I believe, of what you're talking about rests on that for a really, really professional salesperson. You can build relationships one-off, right? But that's not your job necessarily as a salesperson. You know, it's to build relationships and develop trust and so that consistently with multiple stakeholders across multiple things for multiple years and to do it with excellence, right? So that self-leadership portion of it is just such a big deal. How are you seeing like getting this book out in the market and starting to train around these things and work with companies on this? How are you seeing it being responded to, and what are some of the actions the outcomes of that response? I know this is a hard thing to measure, but it's one of those things, you know it when you see it. You know it when you see a culture that does these things well.
Yeah, you know what's interesting around all of this is the first thing. It normally bubbles to the surface very quick. Well, Larry, this is common sense stuff, right? You're right. Yeah. It is common sense, but what's common sense is not commonly practiced. Because actually the simple things are the toughest things to do with consistency and with discipline. But when sales teams and leaders bring in accountability, and I always call this kind of the iron fist, velvet glove moments where you bring in some tough love accountability, but with kind of that velvet glove. Here's the first thing that I start to see happen is confidence with salespeople start to increase. And when confidence with salespeople start to increase, the next thing starts to happen. And I see this believability in themselves and believability in their messaging starts to increase. Those two things. And that has a direct impact on sales. See, all day long, and I think this is where a lot of people are missing the mark these days, is there's a lot of wonderful people that will coach and train to skill set. But I do know this, and I'm speaking right to leadership right now, is if you do not address mindset and heart set, you will not move the needle with skill set. We got to get sellers and sales leaders to think completely different. It's why the subtitle of the book really sticks out. Discover why soft skills yield hard dollars. Soft skills will yield hard dollars. Those are the people skills, Paul. Those are the relational skills. If you want to move the needle on skill set, help your sellers become more confident and believe in themselves. And I see it. I literally see it right now with the sales teams that we work with. It's usually 3, 4, 5 weeks into working with them. And I always start off our sessions the exact same way when we coach. Hey, Paul, tell me something good. What's been going on since we last met last week? Share a win, share a success. How have you integrated this? What have you learned? And it's usually around 4, 5, and 6 weeks into this, somebody says, you know what? I'm a lot more confident. I can tell, right? You're speaking in my ear when I'm in front of somebody. I'm realizing all this stuff. When that happens, you know you're making a difference. That's what I want people to really latch onto, because that's what's going to quantify the back end of this. If I can increase sellers' confidence and believability in themselves, raise their self-worth and how they view themselves, that has a direct impact to skill set, direct correlation to increased revenue and profit.
Well, it's one of my favorite books that I've ever read is Stephen M.R. Covey's Speed of Trust. And he defines trust as that competence and character. And there's going into that, like what I hear you talking about that is so critical is giving the tools for reps to actually believe that they are competent and of high character and can do it, and then prove that to themselves. So that's self-leadership and developing trust. Trusting yourself is so critical to developing trust with somebody else, right? Because if you're going in front of somebody, you don't trust what you're saying, you don't trust how you're doing it, you don't trust that you're competent, you don't have the mindset to go in and just uncover and that you are enough, you can't. It's really difficult to develop a relationship. Or when you do develop a relationship that way, you develop it on the lowest common denominator, which is, oh, we're both kind of feeling a bit anxious. So let's just, and we both don't know what the heck we're doing. So how were you getting in and helping to change that mindset and heart set and that self-leadership? Like, that is so critical.
Oh, this is so good, and I'm gonna answer because I think I love this conversation, but I have to bring in one of my favorite authors, Dr. Henry Cloud, into this conversation, and I'm going to use his book to answer your question because I see this, and I'm going to flip the script on where I think coaching and training is actually missing the mark a little bit, and what we address with selling from the heart and selling in a post-trust world. A couple of years ago, Dr. Henry Cloud wrote a really wonderful book called Trust. It was a great cover. The front has trust, and then it's inverted right below it. And he has the 6 pillars of what he calls building trust. And I want to allude to 2 of them because I see this playing out and answers your question. And really the first pillar is, do you see me, value me, and do you hear me? The third pillar is someone's previous track record that they have, albeit negative experiences and things like that. Where am I going with this? This isn't a skill set play. And I learned this because I look at things through a salesperson's lens. And I know this. When I'm coaching salespeople, I don't care if they're well-tenured grizzly veterans. They're at the midway point or they're really young into their career. If I see them, if I'm listening to them, if I hear them, if I value them, if I make them feel special, and I remove all the baggage they have about coaches and trainers and all the negative experiences they've had, guess what? They think completely different about their approach to being coached. This is mindset, heart set play, Paul. Mm-hmm. And I use that as an example because that's what we unlock. Is I have to look at, right? Salespeople are pretty smart. They really are. And I want to give them credit because they go, man, I've been down this road before, right? I've been down this training road before. I've been in this workshop before. I know what's going to happen. Nothing's really going to move the needle. And they walk into it with negative baggage, just like clients and prospects walk into business conversations the same way, exact same way.
Yeah.
If I can just value them, hear them, listen to them, see them, treat them as a human, and slowly start erasing all the negative experiences they've had and get them to completely think different, we move the needle.
So I have a couple of questions for you that I've been doing some research. I'm going to tie this back to your book, but since 2011, how in terms of the Marcom tool set, software tool set, marketing communications, sales tool set for sales reps out there, what do you think the percentage increase of the number of tools in the market is?
It's ginormous. We've thrown so many tools at people and it just continues to confuse them even more.
It's like 10,000%, right?
Yeah.
So literally like 10,000%. And so at the same level, what do you think is the amount? Let's go from 2010 to 2025. How many emails do you think people get on an average daily basis or get sent into the marketplace?
Hundreds.
Yeah, we're up to something like 140 emails sent, received daily. And I was just doing stats on this. The level of, it's in the trillions of business emails sent. There was approximately 376 billion emails sent daily, with 4.8 billion B2B sales emails sent daily. And then, so you have this massive tech boom, you have this massive communication. That's just one channel. You get it all over and I see sales leaders going to try and throw more and more and more and more and more of that stuff on the table. But what simultaneously is happening to trust in sellers and quota attainment? They're both going dramatically down. right? At the center of this, and which is why I love your work, is the center of this is the salesperson, right? Which is they're going every day having to battle a million billion emails and messages that are coming out from every single angle, decreased trust in the salesperson. Quotas are harder to attain, and the sales leaders are not giving them the fundamental tools that they need to have, which is, you do need some simple tech, but you really need an investment in the rep. You need an investment in how you help them become a better person, a better leader, a better servant, heartset, mindset, because that's what drives success in a ever-changing environment.
100%. And you know what's interesting is, because I've asked, I love, part of what I love doing, I love still going out in cars with salespeople. Part of our onboarding at Selling from the Heart, Paul, I spend days out with the company and the leaders. I sit in leadership meetings. I go right out in cars with some of their top salespeople. I speak in front of their whole entire sales team. This is all before we agree to agree. It's my commitment to them. The things that I hear from salespeople are astonishing. And it's all around, coach me. Please coach me. I'm craving it. I'm craving it. Please help me become better. Pour into me. I don't care if this is a grizzly veteran, someone in their midpoint in their career, or someone just entering the sales force. They want leaders to completely pour into them. They're thriving for coaching. Here's what's interesting. Professional athletes thrive on coaching. If you want to become a professional in sales, a sales team full of professionals, leaders, I'm looking right at you right now. You got to make the commitment, remove the excuses around how I cannot coach on a consistent basis my salespeople. Y'all want to increase revenue. Y'all want to increase profit. Y'all want to grow your client base. Y'all want to bring in new business. But yet, how many of you are willing to make the investment in your most precious asset? That's your salespeople. Because if your salespeople don't sell things at the rate they need to, guess what? We all know what happens. The more you invest, the more you collect. The more you pour into your people and help your salespeople become better, that completely translates out into the field.
Yep. I always think of it this way: like, who you want people out there that can represent the company brand, and who better can represent a company brand that somebody can think on their own 2 feet, understand what the heck is going on, be confident in who they are, what they do, have a strong mindset, have a strong skill set. I mean, and I see too many hacks, just collectively across sales leadership and the landscape. Too many people think we can hack this. And it's not a hack.
You can't hack it. This isn't a hackathon, right? We live in this microwave society, Paul, where people want instant results. Totally get it, but that's kind of what tech's just boiled this thing down to. Get me somewhere as fast as possible. And there might be some validity to it depending on what channel you play in and all of that. But when it's all said and done, tech operates based on humans that have done something with this technology to get the technology to where it's at. There's got human fingerprints all over technology, but yet so many of us are hiding behind technology. I'm saying this, we got to push ourselves in front of technology. It's really interesting. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had a really great interview on the Selling from the Heart podcast with a gentleman named James Laughlin. And he's just a high performance coach, and he works in the professional athlete space, and he works with a lot of political figures and all that. And what was interesting is, and he expanded upon this on our podcast, he said this: if you do not, and he emphasized it, if you do not coach to mindset and heart set, you will never unlock skill set. You will never improve skill set. There's a lot of salespeople and sales leaders who have what I call self-limiting beliefs. And if you don't address this is the mindset and heart set. If you don't unlock all of this, all the drawer full of junk that salespeople have in their heads, you can bring them into a 2-day workshop. You can have them sit in hours of videos, and you can have them do all these things. You're never going to unlock any of it unless you address the mindset trash and heart set trash. And there's a lot of that out there. And that's what we do at Selling from the Heart.
Yeah.
Is we help people unlock all of that. Because when you unlock all of that, that has a direct link to sales growth, increased revenue, increased profit.
I love the work you're doing, and I really appreciate you coming on here and chatting it through, because I do think I was running some numbers, the level of social change that has been happening in the past, really since the advent of social media, but then even faster since the advent of AI and more is astronomical, right? And we are at one of the highest peak levels of human change in history. There's and more messaging and more everything. And so we need to be tuning our own machine. Like, we need to be tuning our people to be able to stand firm in a time of change, in a time of disruption, in a time of, and it's a lot more than skill set. It is that heart set, that mindset. I love your 4 pillars and diving in there. And I just so appreciate how you're investing in that as the first thing.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'll throw, I'm just an avid book reader, and it's sitting here on my desk. It's right there. It's called Inner Excellence by Jim Murphy. Great book. And where I caught wind of this book, and I'll leave everyone with this, is I remember watching the Super Bowl, this last Super Bowl, the Super Bowl with the Chiefs and the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles. And the star wide receiver for the Eagles, I think it's A.J. Brown, if I'm not mistaken. Camera's just panning the sidelines. And as he's panning the sidelines, this is the book that's in A.J. Brown's hands.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. Worn out as worn out gets.
Wow.
And I go, interesting. There was a whole story done on it, that he reads that book when he's on the sidelines in the middle of freaking games. And it's all about the inner work. Leave everyone to think about this, whether you're a sales professional, sales leader, a C-level executive. If you want to unlock the outer success of all your salespeople, this is an inside-outside game. Help them become better on the inside. It's mindset, heart set. Watch what happens to skill set. Skill set drives all the outer levels of success.
That's awesome. I was actually just going to bring up the series Quarterback. I don't know to say on the football thing, because my daughter started watching it. My 16-year-old. No, she's 15, almost 16. Year old daughter started watching it, and she was like, "I love this because just the coaching and the impact, and I see how much they're doing." She's like, she's not like an avid football fan.
Yeah.
But it was watching people get to the heart of what made them successful. And it's really fascinating. And it is so much of that.
Yeah.
It's so much of that. How can we control the heart set and mindset in the ever-changing world? It just really becomes that. So, well, hey, how do people find you, Larry? Because I'm sure they're going to want to after this, but how do people find you and Selling from the Heart?
Just go to sellingfromtheheart.net. You can find out exactly what we're up to this past year. Selling from the Heart spun out in a really good direction. We're bringing data and analytics. So you can either go to sellingfromtheheart.net or go to salesindex.ai, and you can see the data and analytical approach we're doing on the front end of this as we integrate Selling from the Heart into the forefront, and we combine it with data and analytics to share with sales leaders how to help unlock heart set, mindset, and skill set.
All right. And you on LinkedIn?
I'm not too hard to find on LinkedIn.
All right. Well, hey, everybody, make sure you're checking out Larry. the two books that I'm familiar with are phenomenal. So Selling in a Post-Trust World and Selling from the Heart. Absolutely love the work, and I love you diving in with salespeople. So thanks for elevating the sales profession and getting out there, man. It's good work, man.
It's my pleasure. I'm just deeply committed to it. I appreciate you having me on, Paul.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, everybody, hey, make sure you're doing all the important things, all the liking, the subscribing, the sharing, the following Larry, the getting out there. You know what to do. We do appreciate you listening, and have an amazing day. Keep shining bright. And that's all from the Art and Science of Complex Sales. We'll talk soon.